to be very embarrassing to them. I asked, how many rotten fruit people are here that love the rotten fruit?
Wow, that's impressive. Well, you'd have to be old enough to know what a DVD is in order to know that, or what, you know, the internet used to be when it was dial-up. Yeah, those are fun. I've had a few people with I snapped some on the Cabin Fever DVD. These were animated claymation stop-motion shorts, very inappropriate and filthy, and it's funny because they're like, oh, it's the internet, you can do anything. And it was like apples and oranges, but they're like disgusting British rock band. It was like, you fucking cunt! And I'm like, I actually had this woman said to me, you can't use the word cunt. And I was like, but they're British, it's not a swear over there. And then they said to me like, you cannot have an apple call a cherry a cunt. And I was like, and what planet am I on? Is this an actual... I was like, but they're not real, you know, it's sort of pretend and it's kind of a joke. They're like, it's misogynist. I'm like, the word is very misogynist, but in the context of an animated British apple calling a cherry that, it's absurd. Anyways, well, that's my world. I didn't realize that the rest of my career would be arguments like that. Here we are.
Speaking of your career, man, you've had one hell of a run. You've done so much. I mean, I remember when you first burst on the scene in Cabin Fever. It was the first time I met you. It was at a weekend of horrors. Yeah. And how many people saw Cabin Fever and was like, holy shit!
It was a crazy time to do it because horror was pretty much a dead genre at that point. There was like, it's not just that R-rated movies were dead, horror itself was dead. And I would say horror's not dead, shitty movies are dead. And every movie they'd say, you have to have 5 WB stars or television stars, it's gotta be PG-13, everybody has to live. They had all these stupid rules, and I was like, I'm making a movie where there's no killer, it's R-rated, it's super weird, and it's incredibly gory, and there's just very strange shit that I have in my head that even I can't explain. And it didn't test very well. It was the lowest testing movie in the history of Lionsgate. And then it became their highest grossing movie, and the second highest grossing movie they had was House of 1,000 Corpses. So me and Rob were like, told you guys, and then they're like, maybe there's something to this. And then they bought Saw, and then they did Hostel. So, but it was House of 1,000 Corpses and Cabin Fever that kicked it off in 2003.
So let's talk about that for a minute, because it came out at a time when horror movies, even rated R horror movies, were generally bloodless. You know, it was like, I've seen movies where people got their throats slit and there was no blood, and I'm like, how?
It drove me crazy. Well, the ratings board, it's the culture shifts and swings, and it just takes a couple of filmmakers. There was an article that referred to us as the Splat Pack, so of course we took that, and Quentin was like, you're the Frank Sinatra of the Splat Pack. I was like, oh, that's cool. So, but we loved, me, James Wan, Lee Winnell, Alex Aja, Neil Marshall, Rob Zombie, although Rob wouldn't call himself Splat Pack, because he's his own thing, but I love Rob. We missed blood, and so we would it sort of became a bleeding contest, like a pissing match between us to see who could get the most gore in a movie, and I really amped it up with Hostel. I was like, this is going to be the most violent R-rated movie ever made. Well, in today's standards, it's almost tame, but at the time, people were like absolutely shocked. They were running out of the theaters vomiting. And then Alex, does Hills Have Eyes, and then they do Saw 2, and then I do Hostel 2, but there were so many body parts being cut up. And I'm friends with we're all friends. And because I thought it was so cool when I would read Fangoria and see like, oh wow, Toby Hooper and Steven Spielberg and John Landis and Joe Dante, they all hang out. They're all friends. How fucking cool is that? So, I really made a point to like make us, everyone's friends, we all love each other's movies and help each other out. So when I was making Hostel 2, I was at the airport on my flight to Prague, and I called Lee and James, and I'm like, all right, so what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing in Saw 3? And they're like, well, we're ripping a guy's nipple rings out. I'm like, fuck, I had a nipple ring getting ripped out. I'm like, are you cutting the dick off? They're like, no, are you? I was like, maybe. They're like, all right, we're staying away from dicks. I was like, they go, we're gonna rip a guy's chest cavity open and do this thing called angel wings. I'm like, I'm not doing that, but I am gonna do like an Elizabeth Bathory scene where a girl is hung upside down and bled in a bathtub. They're like, oh, that's a good one. So I was like, so we did everything to like separate the body parts. And then people still come up to me like, man, I love Saw, it's a great movie. And people go up to James like, dude, Hostel's a... So now we just laugh, it's like me and Zach going, like, people have come up to us like, dude, this is awesome. I'm like, thank you. And people are like, yo, Glorious Bastards. He's like, oh, thank you so much. Like, after a while, you just sort of just go, yeah, great. I'll take credit for it. Why not? I don't even have to make the movie. Let someone else do it.
Well, one of the things I was really surprised that you did was Finn.
Yeah.
Finn's a really important film. What got you into that? I know this is a Monster Mania thing, but fuck it,
I love monsters. We all have sharks. You know.
So, what got you into that world?
Well, I was asked to, I love sharks. I've been shark obsessed, obviously, since we saw Jaws and growing up in Massachusetts. And, you know, I was always terrified of them. And then someone asked me if I wanted to host Shark After Dark on Shark Week in 2015. And I said, of course I would, because obviously I have a super dream of being a talk show host. And they said, well, we'll send you on a dive. And I went and I did this shark dive, and it instantly changed me. I was like, oh my God, they're like dogs. They're intelligent, they're sensitive, they have personalities. None of them could give a shit about you. I'm like, you didn't like Glorious Bastards? You're good. Like, nothing. And then they said they're killing 100 million a year. I'm like, how's that number possible? It's 18,000 an hour. Some say it's as high as 270 million. And I was like, there's not going to be anything left. Like, what is their function? They're like, well, they keep the ocean clean. I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, they're the doctors of the sea. They like keep the algae from spreading, keep disease from spreading. Like when you go swimming and the ocean is healthy, it's because of the sharks as an apex predator. And so I said, I want to make a documentary about this. And actually Lionsgate TV gave me the money to just go. They're like, well, you got to get on a fishing boat. So I went and I got, you know, we can go to Liberia. And I hate these documentaries where you're like, some Hollywood activist narrates a thing, but I was like, I'm gonna go everywhere. I go out on the boat, and the first day, they took a fucking baseball bat and they killed a mako shark in front of me. And I'd never seen a mako, I'd always wanted to see one, and then I was like, stunned. And I'm like, oh my God, this is millions of, so I explored like, what do we do? And it's all bullshit, it's all money, it's the entire industry of death. It's on Max. But I wanted to make it to educate people, being like, what the fuck? It's like, what the fuck are we doing? You can't eat them. The meat is toxic, gives you fucking brain cancer, and your dick won't work. But it's bad. Like, it's all so poisonous. But people think, oh, it's expensive. And there's actually flavor. The shark fin is flavorless. It's actually like fishing wire. They have to flavor it with all this shit. So I went to China, I go everywhere to like say, you know, from the moment it's caught out of the ocean to put into a bowl of soup, who gets rich off of it. And there's tournaments all up and down the East Coast that go on Alabama Deep Sea Fishing Rodeo and blast their fucking page and their sponsors because they're killing great hammerheads, like these beautiful, they are older than dinosaurs. Like dinosaurs are 65 million years old, sharks been around for 400 million years, but we're gonna wipe them out. They're gonna be gone in our lifetime, like pretty soon if we don't speak up. So it's just to, you know, it seems like a crazy thing to defend, but I was like, you know, fuck it. They don't have vocal cords, so I wanted to speak up for them.
Thank you for that. Come on, let's hear it. I remember when Grindhouse first came out, and I saw that damn trailer for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
All will be carved. And I was like, I really, really want that movie. What took so long to bring it to the screen?
Well, to me, it's a normal amount of time because I was 12 years old when I thought of the idea with my friend Jeff. It was just us growing up in Boston, and every holiday had a horror movie. So we're like, well, this is the most obvious one because it's not religious. Everyone celebrates Thanksgiving. Why hasn't anyone made a Thanksgiving movie? And then when Quentin asked me if I wanted to do a Grindhouse show, I was like, dude, I got it. It's Thanksgiving. I already have the kills figured out because we were like, oh yeah, you got a guy at the parade dressed like a turkey and his head gets chopped off. And he runs around like a turkey and his head chopped off. So once we shot the trailer, we're like, we didn't even have to make the movie. We just shot all the best parts. Fuck all the connector shit, people talking. We actually only make trailers because you just shoot the kills. Like that's the fun stuff anyways. And then I was like, every idea we had, I was like, the idea has to be better than the trailer. So we're like, nope, not better than the trailer, not better than the trailer, not better than the trailer. And then we finally got it. It was like, once we saw the videos of the Black Friday trampolines, but that's it. That's how it gave us a reason to do it. It's about the greed, it's about the shopping. The holiday gets cut back. The midnight Black Friday now starts at 10 p.m., then 6 p.m., then 5 p.m. So Thanksgiving doesn't even exist anymore. We go right from Halloween into Christmas shopping, and now there's a reason to make the movie. And then we can kind of, once we anchored it around that, we could kind of go back to our original concept. Forget Grindhouse. We want to make a Thanksgiving slasher film. This is the way to do it.
Yeah, so Thanksgiving, loved it, loved bringing back the whodunit and the red herrings and all that. What was the kill in that that you were most proud of showing up on screen?
Well, good question. You know, certain kills are very engineered, like the dumpster kill, where you're puppeteering it and the body's in half and all the guts, and Tim Dillon's kill, where we're like, again, the head, the strings, we're doing everything practical, so we're pumping the blood. But then there's something really stupid, like the corn holders in the ears, which is just so dumb, because we just did it with, I love cheap shit. Like the girl landing on the knife is just an edit. She never lands on the knife. We did her landing, and then we stuck the knife, and it's just editing. So I like when you can pull off a kill that's effective, very low tech. Like if you were 10 years old, you could have done it. Not that I would recommend any 10-year-old do a kill with a knife through a vagina on a trampoline. I'm not suggesting that. Although if I was 10, I probably would have done a pretty good job of that. But there was, you know, doing that, so the corn holes in the ears, it was like just reversing the footage. So it just took like 6 times, and because you have to be like, ah, you know, like, ah, so, ah, and so timing the hand, and then Alex is there, and the glove is too big on the thing, so nobody can see it. And the studio's looking at me going, what the fuck are you doing? We're like, come on, we're going into overtime, we're gonna get it, we're gonna get it. That's things nerve-wracking doing practicals. You're going, ah! Like until you get the kill, and then we reverse the footage by like take 6, and everyone jumped. And when you play it at the monitor and everyone jumps, you're like, yeah, it's gonna work. Thank you. Good question. Well, I started shooting Super 8 when I was a kid, and doing stop motion animation, and I had a VHS camera. So after, you know, I was like 8, 9, 10, 11 years old, I always just think of an idea and like shoot sketches, and that's really where you learn. And then I went to film school, which is a great way to, you know, learn it more formally and learn technical stuff. But when I was 18, I started working on sets, and that's where I really learned, because you see exactly what it takes. Anyone who wants to be a filmmaker, highly recommend you work on a professional movie set as an assistant getting coffee, because you'll understand. Like, nobody watches, you know, a lot of basketball, and they're like, well, I can play for the Sixers. Or like, I've seen every episode of ER, or Grey's Anatomy. I think I can operate on this person. Nobody thinks that they're like, I've seen a lot of movies I can direct, but they don't really know what it entails. So you want to, it's a combination of shooting your own stuff and getting on set.
Okay, thank you. I like the movie Thanksgiving.
Thank you, I like it too. She has great taste. You should be a movie critic.
Hi, I'm a huge Grindhouse fan.
Thank you.
It's honestly one of the best movie-going experiences of my life.
Awesome.
Planet Terror is one of my favorite zombie movies.
I know.
Of all time.
Sure, I had nothing to do with it, but I know, I agree with you.
Is there any plans to maybe go back to that Planet Terror universe? Or
No, I mean, that's Robert Rodriguez's world, but no, I think it lost too much money. It was a big fun experiment, we had a great time, but no, sadly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
About your VR experience, like
Yeah.
you did too, and then you produced the Faces 30.
Yeah, it was fun. I love VR. I'm really into it. I shot a lot of film VR stuff, and it was getting the GoPro 360 and putting on a headset. You know, obviously there's limitations, like I can't get my wife to wear it because she's like, I have makeup on. And they're like, oh yeah, like, and I have to explain that to people at like Meta. I'm like, do you realize that like girls don't want to put on a VR headset and get sweaty if they just don't have hair? And they're like, oh yeah, we never thought of that. It's like a bunch of nerdy guys there. So it was actually like a big thing where I was like, I want to do it for like after 20 minutes, it starts to kind of hurt your face. But I had a great time doing these shorts, trying to shoot narratively. We got them to do this one called Trip for Your Treat with Vanessa Hudgens, then I did Be Mine and Adam McDonald, where we started moving the camera more, because certain things, you know, the camera, like if you move it, you get sick, but there's a guy, Matt Celia at Lightsail VR, who's really, really great technically, and each one we wanted to look better. And the guys, when they did the Faceless Lady, if you guys go on Meta, the Faceless Lady, it's really incredible. It's 6 parts. It's unbelievable. Like the way they have the stereoscope 3D VR. I just think not enough people have it. I think they haven't quite figured out the metaverse and how to make it sort of easy to just turn it on and watch it. But I'm always interested in new technology. Like with Crypt TV, we were like trying to do stuff on our phones, trying to do like just if there's a new technology, I want to try and find a way to do a scary short. So it's not there yet for feature films, but I think if they can get the glasses so it doesn't prick your face, that you don't like break into a sweat wearing it, I think there's a real potential to do something really interesting with it.
Too short. Thank you. Okay. So, I know that you're doing the show with Zach Bagans, the Haunted Museum. I'm assuming you've been there before, right?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
We started doing the show during COVID, so
Oh,
I was like, the museum was shut.
Because the question I had was, so now I have an answer for one question, but what's your favorite object that's in the museum that you know about?
Well, he sent me the list of all the objects, and I couldn't go there because it was COVID, and then we picked the stuff that we thought were cool objects that had great stories. But there's that tribal statue that belonged to Steve McQueen. It was crazy. Steve McQueen had this insane statue, and the wife's like, the statue's trying to kill me, and the wife made him get rid of it because she's like, the statue is like going to kill me. But it was Steve McQueen. You're like, wait, what? It was something that he'd gotten on some trip to. Like, it really is like he went to the jungle, someone gave him a statue, he brought it to his house, his wife's like, definitely scaring me. And then he like had to get rid of it because the wife was like, it's haunted, it's trying to kill us, it's gonna kill us. So that to me is such an interesting story. Or like the television that was in Charles Manson's prison cell, and then the person who owned it after, like 3 people who had the television, all murdered people because they like swore they were possessed by Charles Manson, but they didn't know that Manson had on the TV. Stuff that's so bizarre. But the Dybbuk box was great. I thought those episodes, it's too bad that they didn't continue them. They're terrific. They're on HBO Max now. They're the Haunted Museum. Those episodes are awesome.
Thank you.
I just want to say Cabin Fever and Hostel, 2 of my favorite films.
Thank you.
I want to ask about Finn.
Sure.
What was the most impactful moment that you kind of took away from making that? And thank you for that.
Thank you. I mean, look, when people come up and see me and they've seen it, to me the most important thing is, I was like, I can rant about sharks, and everyone's like, I don't care, like, I'm good. But I wanted people to, like, at least, if they invest the time to watch it and go, oh, fuck, this is a serious problem that even though I'm never going to be in the ocean with one, is still affecting me. It's our oxygen, it's everything. And then when people start to speak up, and people shut down the shark fishing tournaments on the East Coast, because they didn't even know about them, and then they look up and they go after the sponsors on Facebook where they are, and the sponsors pull out, and the shows get canceled. So seeing that after the movie came out, the contests were too scared to even start up again, I thought was pretty incredible. So what it shows is that every single person in this room has a voice, and every single voice matters. And you might think, well, who am I that they're going to listen to? They listen to you because you buy things. Your dollars are what's going to change it. So if you think it's not going to make a difference, you cannot believe it. It will. These people that sponsor the shark kill tournaments read every single comment. They're terrified of bad press. If you go at them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, they pull out. And it can be 4 people that do it. It's not like, we need hundreds of people in a petition. No. You just start even go, what the fuck are you doing? You're killing sharks. You copy the mayor of the town. You copy the tourist board on a tweet. That shit gets canceled. So to me, it made me realize that the public is waking up, and the people are starting to realize that they can't fool us by putting out shark attack, shark attack, shark attack. They love shark attack stories because it allows the fishing industry to keep the industry of death going. So speak up. Thank you.
Hi, I'm a big fan of Cabin Fever, but I was just curious if somebody was starting out interested in getting into making movies. I know you said working on a film set would be a great idea to get your start, but how would you, get started nowadays with technology that's changed and everything since when you first came on?
Well, I think it's a combination. I think the basics of get on a film set are still important. Work as a production office, on set, casting office, assistant producer, answering phones, getting coffee, all of it still helps. You can shoot a feature with your iPhone now. If it's scary, people won't care. But start out with a short film. Start with a short. Don't try and dive into a feature if you've never done a short, because you're going to make mistakes no matter what. Every movie, it all happens, every movie. So you want to do something simple and do it really well and see how it goes and try and get a following, and then while you're doing it, work on your screenplay. Like, you can have a bunch of short films, but everyone's going to go, okay, so where's your feature? No one's going to hand you a feature. You got to write your own. They're like, well, I don't know how to write. Well, learn. There's a lot of screenwriting books. You can do it. Like, everybody else figured it out, so can you. So start. If you make a short film, even if it's 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and by short, I don't mean 15 minutes. I mean 3 minutes or 4 minutes. if you do it really well without a long title sequence, because nobody wants to sit through a long title sequence, a bunch of people never heard of, do a short film and have a script that is similar in tone, or that's a longer version of your short. And while you're doing that, also, obviously if you have money, you can go make a movie, but work on movie sets. And people, what do you know, how to direct? Oh, make a short, oh, the short was great. Oh, read the script, but you gotta have that stuff ready.
I'm a big fan of all the horror movies. Green Inferno, that's one of my favorite
Thank you.
horror movies ever. I went out to your booth yesterday. My question is that, well, I heard you say that you made a Thanksgiving movie, which I love, that, because no one really did a Thanksgiving movie before, but what made you create the character John Carver specifically? What inspired you to make him?
Well, when we did it, we always knew it would be a killer pilgrim. So it was Jeff who I wrote it with, played the killer pilgrim in the trailer, and it was the pilgrim. So because it's a fake movie from 1980, you could kind of see his face. You'd sort of see it like, it wasn't a guessing game of who it was, we're kind of parodying the movies at that time. But we said, okay, now we're gonna need a mask, and we're gonna need to guess a game of who's the killer. So Jeff, in researching the script, found out that the first governor of Plymouth and the governor on the Mayflower was named John Carver. And that's like God giving you a softball. Come on. Yeah, come on, you better knock this out of the fucking park. So once we had the name John Carver, who's a real historical character, we looked at paintings of John Carver. There's one painting that's of him, and we're like, okay, there's only 2 images of John Carver I found, who, by all accounts, was a very nice guy, a good governor, was not a mass murderer, but I wanted to, that was where it started from there, was John Carver. But it was really like, what is this person's mission? Why does he want to kill everybody? It was the Black Friday video, where like, that's it, a YouTube video that goes viral, and they make a joke out of this tragedy. And now everyone in the video is getting knocked off, and someone's doing it just like John Carver. And it happened to be the Quaker Centenary, another word. Now I learned for the movie, the 400-year anniversary of Plymouth. And we're like, oh, they would have given out John Carver mask. So it had to be a mask that wasn't scary, but it's like the velociraptor in your kitchen. Like it's, scary. It's not scary if everyone's wearing it, but if someone's standing in your bedroom with an axe, then it becomes scary. So, but it all started from historical research.
Thanks, Eli.
Thank you.
You're awesome.
Art the Clown, you're up.
Hi, everybody. My name's Aaron. I just want to say thanks for everything.
Sure.
My uncle got me all the stuff. I remember a kid. He's in Jersey. He's like, well, you ever seen Attic Fever? And he has a massive bird. So I said, whatever. I'm kidding. Oh, no, not. Well, I'm really excited. The question I had for you is there going to be a 4K for Attic Fever at some point? I know you get that a lot. And if so, do you also approve of all the steelbooks and artwork releases for them?
Yeah, I do. I'm trying to get 4Ks of everything. I'm pushing on all of it. So, they're like, well, we have our order. I'm like, hey, it's the 10-year anniversary of this, so why don't we do it for Thanksgiving too? I'm pushing on everything. They're all in various stages, but I want to do 4Ks, especially Hostel 2, because the DVD transfer is really fucked up. It's too dark. It got double blooded. Ever since the Hostel 2 fuck up, I'm like crazy about the transfers. So I want to get 4Ks of everything. And the Thanksgiving, the Sony Home Video team did such a great job. But I'm always pushing with ideas, suggestions. I gave the cast handy cams from 1999 to shoot their own experience. So it's like I wanted to feel like Blair Witch, like all the stuff getting glitchy and so it looks like it was shot in 1999 or 2000, and I put that on the steelbook. So you have a 4K where the movie's perfect, and then the behind the scenes looks like really shitty 720p. That's kind of the fun. So that's on the steelbook. So I'm very involved in the artwork, but usually the home video departments they come up with something really cool.
Okay, no, just thanks for approving that kind of stuff, and it's always important for your films, and I think
Thanks.
they deserve and thank
Being a film director, how did it feel working with legendary film director Quentin Tarantino during Northern Basket?
That was great. It's like I had to totally submit to the process and relearn the process of directing from the point of view as an actor. I always loved acting. I just never took it seriously. And Quentin's like, you really have talent. You got to push yourself. So I wanted to do method acting and build my character and only focus on being an actor. And obviously when you're working under a master like Quentin, I remember Jodie Foster going back to Yale Drama School, and she'd already made Taxi Driver and Foxes, and I was like, wow, that's so interesting. And she comes out and she does The Accused and Silence of the Lambs, and I always thought it was really interesting when a director when someone that's already established kind of goes back to school and sort of relearns something, he comes out kind of a completely different person. So to me, it gave me, like, I never would have been able to direct Kate Blanchett or all the people that I've worked with had I not had that training under Quentin. Worked with Christoph Waltz and Brad Pitt and Diana Kruger, and they're the best of the best. So it was amazing. Quentin's one of a kind. He's the greatest, and I love him, and there's really no one like him.
I have a question. So,
Sure.
all the movies that you made, what was your most memorable? Like, what was the most movie? All the movies you made, what was the most fun that you had?
Well, you know, I had a Russian film professor who chose movies like The Cranes Are Flying. He's like, making this movie is hell. Directing is hell. If you're having fun, you're not making movie, you're having party. It must be hell. I was like, wow, I wouldn't go that far. But there is some truth to, if you're having a party, you're not really making a movie. You're there, you know, there's that sort of men on a mission mentality where you're like, we're here to do a job and we can have fun doing it, but no one's gonna give a fuck if we had a fun time if the movie's not good. They're gonna go, well, no wonder the movie's not good, they were fucking having fun the whole time. But when, you know, like Death Proof, we had a great time and people love it, but that was a party set, you know, Bastards Quentin's like, this ain't no party, we're here, we're fucking getting our shots, we're going daylight, we're just shooting, running and gunning, we're gonna make it like Pulp Fiction, like down and dirty, lean and mean. And I think, you know, suddenly, you know, people were saying after Grindhouse, like, oh, Quentin's out of ideas, he's kind of dumb, his dialogue's boring, he's like, fuck this, I'm gonna show you who I am. So that's what I'm like on my sets, you know, and I told the actors, I was like, you're all here to support each other, like, the fun is when it's great. I don't worry about entertaining people. Like, if you're doing great work, and everyone is helping each other, and you do something, you know what it's like, when you complete work you're really proud of, you don't remember that you were cold, that you were tired, you're just so fun, like, yes, I fucking did it. So that's what I go for every movie, is that sort of feeling of like, fuck yeah, I can't believe we did it.
Thank you so much. Again, I love your movies.
Thank you.
Let's hear it for Eli Roth.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Look, obviously I just started doing these kind of conventions between movies, and it's really fun. So thank you to everyone who came by and told me your experiences. It really means a lot to me. And I made stickers of my movies without rights or permission, so they're really stupid and pointless. But if you come by, I wanted stuff for, like, you know, your lunchbox, things like that. But I have like sort of rare stuff that I'm just kind of putting out there in the world. But if you come by and grab them before the sticker police arrest me, it's great. Or just come by and say hi. I'm over here for 2 hours.